Have you ever been told that God wants you to be rich? That financial success is not just a goal, but a divine right? The message of the prosperity gospel is as seductive as it is widespread. It teaches that faith, positive declarations, and generous donations, often called faith seeds, will unlock supernatural wealth and blessings in your life. But is this truly biblical? Or is it a modern distortion of Christian faith designed to benefit a select few? The prosperity gospel is a movement that has turned faith into a financial transaction, promising believers that their material wealth is a sign of God's favor. At its core, it teaches that if you have enough faith, and if you sow enough financial seeds, you will experience unlimited success. Followers are encouraged to donate to churches, televangelists, and ministries, believing that their offerings will multiply and return to them in miraculous ways. The phrase, "name it and claim it," has become a hallmark of this belief system, implying that whatever you desire, be it a new house, a luxury car, or financial abundance, is already yours, as long as you speak it into existence and support God's work financially. But reality paints a much different picture. While some prosperity gospel preachers live in extravagant mansions, fly in private jets, and wear designer clothes, many of their followers struggle with debt, disappointment, and even disillusionment with their faith. The promise of divine wealth does not always materialize for the average believer, leading some to wonder, if financial prosperity is truly a sign of God's blessing, what does that say about those who remain poor despite their unwavering faith? Critics argue that the prosperity gospel distorts the teachings of Jesus, who preached humility, generosity, and concern for the poor. Nowhere in the Bible did Jesus promise financial wealth as a reward for faith. In fact, many of his teachings warn against the love of money and the dangers of materialism. The apostles, too, lived lives of sacrifice, often facing persecution and hardship rather than financial prosperity. Yet, the movement continues to thrive, fueled by charismatic preachers, emotional appeals, and massive media empires. Many of the most prominent prosperity gospel leaders run megachurches with millions of followers, broadcasting their messages worldwide through television, social media, and best-selling books. Their influence is undeniable, and their teachings have shaped the way many modern Christians understand success and faith. So, why does the prosperity gospel remain so popular? One reason is its deep psychological appeal. In a world filled with economic uncertainty and hardship, the idea that faith alone can guarantee financial success is incredibly attractive. It offers hope to those struggling and provides a simple solution to complex financial problems. Give more, believe more, and God will take care of the rest. However, this belief system often leads to guilt and despair for those who don't experience the promised blessings. If someone tithes faithfully but still faces financial struggles, they may be led to believe that they lack faith or that God is punishing them. This toxic cycle can erode genuine faith, replacing it with doubt and confusion. So, is the prosperity gospel divine truth or a spiritual scam? While many sincere believers follow this doctrine with good intentions, its promises often fail to deliver for the majority. The Bible teaches a message of faith, hope, and love, not guaranteed wealth. True prosperity is not measured by the size of your bank account but by the depth of your relationship with God and your impact on others. As you reflect on this, ask yourself, is faith a tool to gain wealth, or is it something far greater? The answer might change the way you see not only money but also the very essence of your spiritual journey. The prosperity gospel teaches that faith is directly linked to financial success. The more you believe, the more you give, the more you will receive. That's the promise. It's a message that has captivated millions, offering hope to those seeking financial breakthroughs. But is it biblical truth or just a cleverly disguised business model? At the heart of the prosperity gospel is a simple formula. Donate generously to God's work, through the church or a specific preacher, and God will bless you financially in return. Preachers tell their followers that financial abundance is a sign of divine favor, that poverty is a result of weak faith, and that the key to unlocking supernatural wealth lies in sowing financial seeds. The message is wrapped in compelling stories of supposed miracles, people who claim to have given their last dollar to a ministry, and, soon after, received an unexpected promotion, a new car, or a financial windfall. But here's the reality. While everyday believers are emptying their pockets in hopes of a miracle, many prosperity gospel preachers are living in unimaginable luxury. Some own multi-million-dollar mansions, drive luxury cars, and travel in private jets, all funded by the donations of those who believe they are investing in God's financial plan. These preachers stand on massive stages, broadcast their messages globally, and urge followers to give in faith, promising that God will return the blessing tenfold. You've likely heard the plea, sow a seed of $1,000 and watch how God multiplies it. Some ministries even take it a step further, claiming that specific amounts of money can trigger specific levels of blessings, as if divine favor operates on a pricing system. But let's ask a crucial question. If financial prosperity is truly God's plan, why does it seem to work only for those at the top? Why are the ones delivering the message the only ones getting richer? Many sincere believers have given everything they could, sometimes even going into debt, trusting that God would bless them financially in return. But instead of prosperity, they face disappointment, financial struggles, and even crises of faith. Some wonder if they didn't give enough, pray enough, or believe enough. Others feel abandoned, questioning why their miracle never came, and yet the movement continues to thrive. Why? Because the prosperity gospel is built on hope, desire, and desperation. In a world where financial struggles are common, the idea that faith alone can guarantee wealth is incredibly appealing. For someone facing mounting bills, job instability, or economic hardship, the promise of financial blessing feels like a lifeline, a spiritual shortcut to financial freedom. But let's take a step back and examine this theologically. Did Jesus ever promise financial wealth to his followers? The answer is no. In fact, Jesus often warned against the love of money, saying, "You cannot serve both God and money." Matthew 6:24. The early Christians, including the apostles, faced hardship, persecution, and suffering, not financial abundance. If wealth were truly a sign of divine favor, wouldn't Jesus himself have been one of the richest men in history? The truth is, the prosperity gospel distorts the real message of faith. It turns God into a divine banker, where spiritual devotion is measured in dollars and blessings are treated as financial transactions. But genuine faith is about much more than material wealth. True prosperity is not about the size of your bank account. It's about your relationship with God, your impact on others, and the peace and purpose that faith brings, regardless of financial status. So, what can we take away from this? Faith is not a get-rich-quick scheme. God's blessings are not for sale. And the true gospel, the one preached by Jesus, is about love, humility, and spiritual fulfillment, not private jets and multi-million-dollar homes. If you've ever been told that God's plan for you includes guaranteed financial success in exchange for your donations, take a moment to reflect. Is faith about trusting God no matter what? Or is it about using God to get rich? The answer to that question might change everything. Did Jesus promise wealth to his followers? If you look at his teachings, the answer is clear. No. In fact, he repeatedly warned about the dangers of wealth and materialism. He told his disciples, "You cannot serve both God and money." Matthew 6:24, emphasizing that faith and financial ambition should not be intertwined. Yet, the prosperity gospel has flipped this message on its head, turning churches into spiritual stock markets, where faith is currency and God is the banker. Prosperity preachers claim that God wants you to be rich, that material wealth is a sign of divine favor. They encourage followers to give faith seeds, donations meant to unlock God's financial blessings. They tell their congregations, "The bigger your seed, the bigger your miracle." Some go even further, assigning price tags to blessings, promising that a specific donation will bring healing, career breakthroughs, or financial success. But is this really what Jesus taught? Let's take a look at Jesus and his disciples. Did they live in luxury? Did they demand money from their followers to unlock miracles? The answer is an undeniable no. Jesus lived humbly, without wealth or status. His closest disciples faced persecution, imprisonment, and hardship, not riches. If wealth were a guaranteed reward for faith, why were the earliest Christians among the poorest and most persecuted people in society? And yet, in today's world, megachurch pastors and televangelists preach that faith will make you rich, while they themselves grow wealthier every day. Many of these preachers live in multi-million-dollar mansions, travel in private jets, and wear designer clothing, all funded by the donations of people who believe they are investing in God's financial plan. Their lifestyles bear no resemblance to the life of Jesus, the very man they claim to follow. So why do they insist that God's favor comes with a price tag? Because faith, when commercialized, becomes the most profitable business on earth. The prosperity gospel is not just a religious movement. It's an industry worth billions of dollars. Preachers sell books, DVDs, and exclusive teachings on how to unlock God's blessings. Some even charge admission for special events where they promise divine revelations, if you're willing to pay the price. And this system works not because it's true, but because it's deeply appealing. The prosperity gospel offers a simple solution to life's struggles. If you give more, you'll get more. It provides hope to the poor and desperate, convincing them that financial miracles are just one donation away. But when these blessings don't come, the blame is placed on the believer. You didn't have enough faith. You didn't give enough. This toxic cycle keeps people giving, hoping, and believing, even when reality doesn't match the promise. So what happens when someone realizes they've been misled? Some walk away from their faith entirely, feeling betrayed and disillusioned. Others continue giving, afraid to stop, because they've been told that withholding offerings could block their blessings. This is spiritual manipulation, not biblical truth. True Christianity isn't about buying God's favor. It's about faith, love, and service, not wealth and personal gain. The Bible does not teach that money is evil, but it does warn that the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. 1 Timothy chapter 6:10. And nowhere does it suggest that God's blessings can be purchased like a product. If Jesus himself lived humbly, if his disciples endured hardship, and if the early church thrived in faith despite poverty, then why should modern Christians believe that material wealth is a sign of God's approval? The truth is, it's not. So the next time you hear a preacher say, "Give and God will make you rich," ask yourself, who is really benefiting from this message? Because when faith is turned into a business, the only people truly prospering are the ones selling the dream. The prosperity gospel is more than just a religious belief. It is a promise of hope in a world filled with uncertainty. When life is tough, when money is tight, when sickness or hardship strikes, people look for answers. They want to believe that their struggles have a purpose, that they are just one step away from a breakthrough. And the prosperity gospel offers a simple and compelling formula. Give generously, believe deeply, and in return, God will bless you with health, wealth, and success. At its core, this movement teaches that financial prosperity and physical well-being are signs of divine favor. If someone is struggling, it is not seen as a result of economic conditions, bad luck, or systemic issues. Instead, the message is clear. You simply haven't given enough or believed enough. This doctrine turns faith into a transaction. If you sow a financial seed into the ministry, God will reward you many times over. The more you give, the more you receive. Or so they are told. This belief is powerful because it offers control in an unpredictable world. People don't have to feel powerless. Instead, they are given a clear path to success. All they have to do is donate, pray, and trust. The emotional appeal is undeniable. It convinces struggling families, desperate individuals, and those facing illness that their miracle is within reach, if only they stretch their faith a little further. And so, they give. They give what they can, and then they give even more. Some empty their savings accounts, skip rent payments, or go without essentials, convinced that their financial sacrifice will bring them closer to God's blessings. If they experience even a small improvement, a job offer, a kind gesture, an unexpected check, they see it as confirmation that the system works. But what happens when the promised breakthrough doesn't come? Instead of questioning the doctrine or the preachers, many blame themselves. Maybe their faith wasn't strong enough. Maybe they didn't give enough. Instead of walking away, they dig deeper, convinced that one more donation, one more prayer, will unlock their blessing. And so, the cycle continues. Meanwhile, those who preach this message live in luxury. Mansions, private jets, designer clothing. These preachers present their wealth as evidence that their teachings are true. They tell their followers that their extravagant lifestyle is proof of God's blessings. But in reality, their prosperity is not the result of divine intervention. It is funded by the endless sacrifices of their believers. The greatest tragedy of the prosperity gospel is not just financial exploitation, but the deep emotional and spiritual toll it takes. Many who invest their faith and money into this movement end up disillusioned, broken, and questioning everything. Some walk away from religion entirely, feeling betrayed and abandoned. Others remain trapped, afraid that if they stop giving, they will forfeit their long-awaited miracle. In the end, the only people truly prospering are the ones collecting the donations. The prosperity gospel turns faith into a business, hope into a marketing tool, and devotion into a revenue stream. And for those who buy into it, the cost is often far greater than just money. It is their trust, their faith, and their very sense of worth. If faith alone could guarantee wealth, why isn't every believer rich? Millions of people around the world devote their lives to their faith, praying with sincerity, giving with open hearts, and trusting in divine provision. Yet, many continue to struggle financially, battling debt, unemployment, and economic hardship. The reality is, prosperity does not come from planting miracle seeds or engaging in financial transactions disguised as faith. It does not come from emptying your savings account into a collection plate or blindly following a preacher's call for donations in exchange for divine blessings. True prosperity is built on wisdom, discipline, and smart financial decisions, none of which can be bought through religious manipulation. The prosperity gospel preys on hope. It tells believers that their financial breakthrough is just one act of faith away. If they give generously, often sacrificially, God will multiply their offering and pour out blessings beyond imagination. This teaching is not just misleading, it is dangerous. It shifts the focus from responsible financial management to blind giving, convincing people that wealth is not earned through work, skill, or wise stewardship, but rather through an almost magical exchange with God. The problem is, this exchange never guarantees results. When the miracle doesn't come, when financial struggles persist, believers rarely question the system. Instead, they blame themselves. Maybe they lacked faith. Maybe they didn't give enough. Maybe they missed a step in unlocking God's favor. And so, they try again. They give more. They stretch their finances thinner. They remain trapped in a cycle of false hope, believing that their breakthrough is just around the corner, if only they persist. But while they wait for their financial miracle, the ones who truly prosper are the preachers who promote this message. These leaders often live in luxury, flaunting their wealth as evidence that their teachings work. Expensive homes, designer clothes, private jets. These are presented not as excesses, but as proof of divine favor. Congregants are told that they too can achieve this level of abundance if they simply follow the same formula. Give more, believe harder, expect bigger blessings. This mindset does more than drain bank accounts. It distorts the very nature of faith. It turns God into a vending machine and religion into a financial scheme. Giving is no longer an act of generosity from the heart. It becomes a calculated attempt to buy a better life. And, when the expected wealth does not materialize, it can lead to deep spiritual disillusionment. Some walk away from faith altogether, feeling betrayed and abandoned. Others continue to give, afraid that stopping will mean losing their chance at prosperity. The truth is, wealth and success are not achieved through religious transactions. They come from understanding real financial principles, budgeting wisely, saving diligently, investing strategically, and making responsible economic choices. Giving is important, but it should be an act of genuine generosity, not a forced obligation driven by fear of missing out on blessings. Faith is powerful. It can bring peace, purpose, and strength in times of hardship. But faith should never be for sale. True prosperity isn't found in sowing seeds into a preacher's ministry with the expectation of supernatural returns. It is built through knowledge, hard work, and responsible decision-making. The prosperity gospel sells an illusion, one that enriches only those who preach it. But real financial freedom comes not from chasing miracles, but from embracing wisdom, discipline, and a faith that is not tied to wealth. The prosperity gospel presents itself as a message of hope, a promise that with enough faith and financial giving, anyone can unlock divine blessings. But, at its core, this doctrine turns faith into a business transaction, where God's favor is supposedly up for sale to the highest bidder. It persuades people that if they give just a little more, pray a little harder, and believe without doubt, their miracle will come. Yet, for many, that breakthrough never arrives. At the end of the day, faith is not about buying blessings. It is about trust, integrity, and making wise choices. It is about living a life that reflects true spiritual values, not one dictated by fear-driven giving. God's blessings cannot be purchased, and real prosperity has nothing to do with accumulating wealth overnight. Instead, true prosperity is found in purpose, generosity, and wisdom. The prosperity gospel thrives on emotional appeal. It convinces struggling believers that their financial difficulties or hardships are simply a test of their faith, one they can pass by giving more money to a preacher or ministry. The idea is seductive, that a single act of financial sowing can unlock supernatural wealth and success. But the question we must ask is this: who truly benefits from this teaching? The believers who give, or the leaders who collect their donations? Look at the evidence. While congregants give sacrificially, sometimes at great personal cost, many prosperity preachers amass enormous wealth: mansions, luxury cars, private jets. These are not signs of divine favor, but rather the result of a religious business model that exploits faith for profit. The prosperity gospel does not create financial miracles for the average believer. It creates millionaires out of the ones who promote it. This false doctrine distorts the true nature of faith. Jesus never taught that blessings come through financial transactions. In fact, he warned against greed and the love of money. His message was one of generosity, compassion, and trust in God's provision, not manipulation and guilt-driven giving. The idea that one can purchase God's favor undermines the very essence of faith. It turns devotion into a pay-to-win system, where those who give the most are promised the biggest rewards. The danger of this message is not just financial loss, but spiritual disillusionment. Many who buy into the prosperity gospel eventually realize that their endless giving has not led to the promised rewards. They are left questioning their faith, wondering why God has not come through for them, blaming themselves for not believing hard enough. Some even abandon their faith entirely, feeling betrayed and misled. But true faith is not about getting rich. It is about living a life of meaning, responsibility, and generosity, not out of obligation, but from a genuine heart. Real prosperity is not measured by how much wealth you accumulate, but by how well you steward what you have and how you impact those around you. It is about making wise financial decisions, not hoping for divine wealth transfers. It is about living in trust, not fear. So the next time someone tells you that your breakthrough is just one financial seed away, take a step back and ask, is this truly God's message? Or is it a man-made system designed to benefit the few at the expense of the many? Don't let anyone sell you something that Jesus gave for free. Faith is not a business, and God's blessings are not for sale. What do you think about the prosperity gospel? Have you or someone you know been affected by it? Let's start a conversation. And if you found this perspective eye-opening, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this message with someone who needs to hear the truth.